Welcome, Cobb County, to the latest, or actually first edition of the In Cobb We Trust podcast. My name is Dr. Chheda, and well, there's a reason we started this podcast, and it's not because I wanted to. I certainly, if I was headed my way, I'd be playing golf right now. But instead, we're recording this podcast on, Saturday, February 22nd, 2025. I think it's only a month into this administration, and it feels like 4 years. So the reason why we wanted to start this podcast, and I'm going to get into it, but actually before I do that, let me tell you kind of who I am. I am a palliative care and hospice physician that works in the Marietta area, and I've been doing that for about 10 years. I went to Campbell High School, actually, graduated from the IB program back in the early part of the 2000s, which makes me sound way older than I feel. And then I went to the University of Florida, go Gators, for undergrad and med school, where I was there for 4 national championships, 2 in football, 2 in basketball. That was awesome. Went to the University of California, San Diego for my family medicine residency, and then I did my fellowship in hospice and palliative medicine at the West Los Angeles VA, and have been working in the area for the last 10 years, taking care of sick people. And a little bit about palliative care, we call ourselves the comfort and support team. I make sure they know what's going on, explain what's going on to them, and then making sure we're on the same page. And then I learn about them and help them figure out how do they want the future of their care, what they want their future of the care to look like, whether that be continuing aggressive treatments with great symptom management, or oftentimes focusing on comfort and considering hospice services. And so my job, really by necessity, is being honest with people and telling them the truth. And that's what we're trying to do with this podcast. You know, we called it In Cobb We Trust because it's playing off of what is on our money. In God we trust. And we, in my role as in politics, I've learned that it's hard to find any topic that cuts across everyone. But everyone has to deal with money, essentially, and your bottom line. Whether you're a young person who's just starting out, don't have a lot of resources, and the world is not kind in terms of getting ahead, or you're somebody who's in the middle of their career, have kids, maybe started taking care of their parents and now worrying about all that, or if you're in the later part of your career or retired, Social Security and also fixed costs, or people who live on fixed income. Everybody's concerned about their money because that's how this country was set up. That is the purpose of America, is to be part of this capitalistic system, whether we like it or not. And that's just the world that we live in. And when we're thinking about how do we connect with people, well, it's talking about what's important to them, and a lot of times that's their pocketbook. That's one part of it. The other part of it, and it sounds kind of terrible to say, but again, this is the honest podcast. This country is in a world of hurt right now. Our Constitution is attempting to be shredded as much as possible. And American democracy is coding. I think that has to be said, and not in a hyperbolic way, but in a really honest way, that if you're one of the people out there that are feeling sad, that are feeling scared, that look around and are very confused as to what's happening and are feeling it, you are not abnormal. In fact, you're normal. And there are a lot of people that are just kind of tuning out all the badness because it's just a lot to take. It's a lot of incoming all at the same time. But the truth of it is that, yeah, it may protect your mental health, and you may be one of those people that say, yeah, I can't do anything, so I'm not going to worry about it. But that doesn't mean it's not going to come for you or not going to affect you in some way. I mean, multiple things can be true at the same time. And so really, it does affect everyone what's happening. We all live in this country together, and I understand why you want to look away. I really do. Like, I get it. And the thing is that if you do look away, yeah, you protect your mental health, but there are a lot of people that need help right now. And how do you do both, right? Like, how do you care on one hand and then try to stay sane on the other? It's a very tall ask of the citizenry. That is true. And yet, I'm asking everyone to answer the call because it's really that important. Like, I started off joking saying I didn't want to do this. The only reason I'm really doing this is because really our Constitution is under full assault. The white supremacists have taken over. And that's just a really uncomfortable truth to sit with. Because it feels, at least for the people that went to school in my cohort, like we were lied to, essentially. We were lied to that this country has come so far that it felt like racism may have been a thing of the past. And clearly, that is not the case. And it's a gut punch. You know, November was a gut punch. The last 4 weeks have been terrible. And I think the only thing that we can do is build community, and the citizens have to take over again. So part of that was, you know, what events do we have? What socials do we have? We had a bonfire here last night. And we had a bunch of people speak. And one thing that I heard is that for like high schoolers, college students, people who have just graduated high school and maybe gotten other jobs, vocational training, or they went into a trade, they feel like the world is not meant for them and nobody cares about them. What they're feeling is not wrong. They're absolutely right. It feels that way because there's a generation of people who just don't care about what young people care about. And there's a reason for that. And you can go chicken or egg. Like, my job here is not to necessarily give you the answer. But it's just to describe the situation. That politicians and the people in charge don't care about young people because they don't vote. Even though they demographically could swamp elections if they showed up in mass in numbers. And the reason why I think young people don't vote is because they don't see the point. What is the point of voting? Because it doesn't feel like things change positively for you. And yet, if you don't vote, then nothing can change. So I think the point there is young people, I get it. Housing is unaffordable. It feels like you can never make enough money for a down payment for a house. So you're going to be a renter forever. If you want to get a college education, it's expensive. It's really expensive. And you have to take a loan out. And there's no guarantee that if you get a college degree, they're going to be able to afford to live once you get a job. There's no guarantee, even though that's what we were taught. And so you just see that the rich keep getting richer, right? So what do? You feel like you're squeezed from every side and nobody cares. Nobody seems to care. Except there are people that care. It's just like you don't see them. This is an effort to change that, to have a conversation, to be honest though about what we're seeing. But you're not abnormal. You are normal. And there is a way to change things, even though it feels like it's hopeless. And I hope that coming from me, somebody who tells people they're dying as my job, that you'll have a little bit of trust. And I'm not here to bullshit you. I will tell you the truth as best as I know it, as best as I can see it, and also tell you when I don't know things. And there is an ocean of information that I don't know. But part of this is explaining thought processes and rationales, and hopefully creating this kind of relationship over time where we can have, at least here in Cobb County, in this county, where it's blue, turned blue, first time, 2016. Stayed blue, 2020. Stayed blue, 2024. We have changed things. Cobb County has 4 commission districts, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they have a chair of the commission. And these people decide rezoning, they decide how funds get spent. They have a lot of power. And traditionally, Cobb County was really Republican until 2016. And now Democrats have a majority on the board. But the Republicans didn't really like that. So they went and redrew the maps, drew a commissioner out of her district. And so now we're having a election for District 2, which comprises of Smyrna, Vinings, runs all the way up 75, all the way up 575, up into Kennesaw, or Town Center. And it is a very important district. And so there is a runoff in this election happening March 11th between Eric Allen and Chheda Howard, with the winner of that runoff running against Alicia Adams on April 29th. And the Republicans are coming after this seat. And I'm not trying to be Paul Revere here or anything, but yes, they are coming after this seat because they are mad. They are mad that Cobb County is blue. They are pissed off that they have a black woman as chair of the commission. Let's not mince words, okay? I'm not here to blow smoke up your butt. Just here to tell you the truth as best I see it. And they're coming. They redrew this map for a reason. And so if you care about stopping MAGA in its tracks, it starts at the local level. So locally, right now, March 11th, runoff. April 29th, election. Y'all, if you live in Cobb County, you're voting all the time. The question is not, do I have to vote? It's what election am I voting in right now? And when's the next one? And I need everyone to really get on board with that, because that is what we call representative government. Right now, our government is not representative of its constituents because only a minority of constituents vote. And I know a lot of you will go out and say, I don't care about voting. I only have one vote. I'm like, this is how this works. Everybody gets one vote. So no, one vote in and of itself doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Yes, I get math. But it is the cumulative effort of everybody voting. And so if young people voted at anywhere the rate of old people, we would have a completely different government. We would have a government that is responsive to the needs of young people. But we don't have that right now. And I know, I don't know what else to tell people to motivate them. You have to take the power. Nobody gives it to you. You take it for yourself. And yeah, it's demoralizing being a young person. Yeah, it seems like there's not a lot of hope. But that didn't stop Luke Skywalker from attacking the Death Star. So, that didn't stop Frodo from going to Mount Doom. I think like we read books like 1984, Fahrenheit 451 for a reason. And it's for this moment. And so if America is coding, I am asking all of you to resuscitate it. And you resuscitate it by getting involved, by voting regularly, and getting yourself informed. And the thing is, it's hard to know who to trust. It really is. In this information environment, it is really difficult to know, is the information that you're getting legit? Is it biased? Is it funded by some dark money force that's trying to, get you to view one point? Just difficult. And there is a paucity of trust in the system. For good reason. We're getting swindled. Left, right, and center. Right now, we are getting swindled. Whether we're getting swindled by Trump, whether we're getting swindled by healthcare, insurance companies who take profits rather than feeding that back into the system, we are getting swindled left, right, and center. And here's the thing. It's not just like the lower socioeconomic class. No, there is a large difference between the 2% and the 0.1%. And I think the problem has been people of my income bracket lump themselves in with the 0.1 percenters. We're not the 0.1 percenters, y'all. We're not. I still got to pay for my kids' school, still got to pay for my kids' childcare. I still have a mortgage. And I hope that's one thing that people hear. It's that this is all about the cash money. Everything that we're seeing is about money. And we are getting swindled by the federal government and the fascist regime and the GOP. That's not to say, by the way, that there isn't criticism for the left. There is plenty of criticism for the left. But I'm not going to sit here and criticize the left when the right doesn't even have its house in order. If you're a fascist regime, you have no right to talk to me. You have no right to say anything, period, whatsoever. You lost it. Once you voted for a 34-time convicted felon who is a serial rapist and sexual assaulter that has let people, that has screwed over small business his entire life, that is fairly a Russian asset, that is with Putin and Kim Jong-un, like, you have no right to lecture any of us at all, by the way. So I know that's a departure from my normal, treat you like a patient stance. But there are some things that are just and my hope is this podcast is the start of a conversation. Start of a conversation between myself, you on the other side of the screen, and other people that we're going to bring in to talk and to develop some trust over time that we need to course correct now. Not later, now. But that also means that we have a time horizon. The Georgia House needs to be flipped. The Georgia Senate needs to be flipped. We're not going to get there in a day. We're not going to get there in a year. This is a 5, 10, 15, 20-year project. And that kind of time scale, it's really hard for people to stomach. I got you. Got you. It's hard to do anything for that long of a time. And the truth is, though, that's what we need. So, it's not easy. It's really not easy. But I don't think it was meant to be easy. It's never meant to be easy, and it sounds cliche, but like anything worth doing, usually is pretty difficult. Putting that much effort into something over time is what produces results. And so we, as a citizenry, have taken this country for granted. We've taken our system of government for granted because we thought that these people know what they're doing, they have our best interests at heart, they're going to take care of it. They're not. There is no cavalry coming. It's on us.